Welcome to biology classes. Now today we have to start with muscle tissue. If you closely watch a muscle, then each muscle is made up of long, cylindrical and parallelly arranged fibers. These fibers are further made up of numerous fine myofibrils. These are called as myofibrils. Each fiber is made up of many myofibrils. Now the speciality of muscle is that on getting a stimulation from anywhere, it will shorten in length, and later on, after the stimulation is gone, it can come back to its normal length, that is, it can relax. So because of the contraction and relaxation of the muscles, various types of movements occur within the body, as well as the locomotion of the body is done with the help of contraction and relaxation of the muscles. Now, depending on their structure and location, the muscle tissue is divided into three: skeletal muscle, smooth muscle and cardiac muscle. Now, skeletal muscle is called so because it is closely associated with the skeleton of an organism. It is also called as striated muscles because if we watch it under the microscope, then we see dark and white patches alternating with each other. The other name given to skeletal muscle is voluntary muscle. Now it is called as voluntary muscle because it is under our voluntary control. That is, if we want, we can contract or relax that particular muscle. For example, the muscles of limbs. If we want to raise our hand, it is on our will. When we want to raise our hand, then we will raise. When we want to sit down, we will sit. So these muscles are under our voluntary control. The fibers of skeletal muscles are bundled together, just as you can see the muscles of biceps or triceps. These are all bundled together, and there is a covering, a sheath covers this bundle. Structurally, if you look, then the skeletal muscles, they are cylindrical in shape and they are multinucleated. The next type of muscle that we have to study is the smooth muscle. Now, smooth muscles are called so because they don't show any striation under the microscope. They appear more or less smooth under the microscope. Their cells are tapering at both the ends, that is, pointed at the ends. The cells are wider in the middle and they are uninucleate. They too are bundled together with the help of connective tissue sheath. These are also called as involuntary muscles because they are not under our voluntary control. They are also called as unstriated muscles because they do not show any striations under the microscope. The walls of internal organs of blood vessels, stomach and intestine, these are all made up of this type of smooth muscle, and you know that the activities in these organs are not under our voluntary control. Then the third type of muscle is the cardiac muscle, which can contract and relax throughout the life without resting. They appear like the striated or the skeletal muscle, but their function, they are also involuntary in nature. So their function is like smooth muscles, but they appear like the skeletal muscle or the voluntary muscle. Communication junctions, that is the intercalated disc at some fusion points, allow the cells to contract as a unit. So they contract together and relax together. Presence of intercalated disc is a special feature of cardiac muscle. The coordination and control of the body is done by another set of tissue called as neural tissue. These have greater control on the body's responsiveness. So when our surroundings change, then we respond because of the neural tissue. Now the basic unit of neural tissue is the neuron, which are the cells which can be excitable. Now these neurons are protected by another group of cells called as neuroglial cells. These support the neurons and protect them. Neuroglial cells make up more than 1/2 the volume of total neural tissue in our body. You have already studied the structure of a neuron. The neuron is composed of a cell called as cell body, which has a nucleus and Nissls granule. Now many processes arise from the cell body. The smaller processes that come out are called as dendrites, and the one which is very long, the process that is long and ends in neural endings, they are called as axon. Now the dendrites are the processes that collect stimulus and they send it to the cell body, and from the cell body the signal is transported to the axon, and from the axon these electrical signals are first converted into chemical signals when it reaches the nerve endings, and the nerve endings then transport this chemical to other neurons. So this is the way how the stimulus is transmitted from one place to other, and finally the neurons make up the spinal cord and the brain also. The signals reach the spinal cord, and from there the signal is sent to the brain. Then brain accordingly acts and sends back signals to the muscles with the help of motor neurons. So this mechanism you already know. It is not described in your book because you have already studied this.